Give you a great spectrum of what's involved in the county council, of different departments and where the fire service fits in within departments, and management and leadership gives you other perspectives of other views, other departments and how they work and how they deal with different issues.
Working in a complicated group dynamic and how to communicate effectively within that group to get the desired effect, and tailoring perhaps my language or means of communication for who I'm talking to.
If you don't have self-awareness, then no matter how much knowledge you have, there will be a point where you won't be able to progress.
I've learnt that not everybody works the way I do, and that everybody learns differently, needs to learn differently, and needs to get their own opinions or answers to questions.
Well, I've improved my team working skills.
Listen to other people's views and their contribution they can give to the projects and things. And I think also is how many different departments there are in the council that I didn't realise there was. There's so much experience and wealth of knowledge in other departments that we can all use together. So definitely.
One of the biggest things I've learned is that people learn different to how I learn. You know, the way I absorb information and the way that I work can be very different to other people. Not so much fire service, but working with the likes of yourself and Joe from county. You know, the way you interpret information, the way you you apply your work, is very different to the way I work. So for me, it was about understanding other people. The other thing is I've learned is to try and trust my ability a little bit more. Understanding that I'm quite good at this sort of stuff. And having a little bit more confidence in myself to be able to take information on, deliver it. And not just in the projects, but also my own work as well. When I'm on station.
How important partnership working is, especially with our fire colleagues. It's been an experience. But yeah, no, I think we're getting there.
Not judge individuals on your course and give them all the give enough people enough time to come out as their own individuals and learn from them. I think that's certainly been with our group. Starting the course, I really wanted a particular role within the project. I was away for that day when it got decided, and actually it's benefited me more by not doing that role because I get to see someone else do that and I've actually learned their way of doing things. I think our project's moved forward because of that.
We're working as a team and negotiating, and you can't always, when you put your ideas in, you've got to learn to to compromise a bit and agree to disagree in certain areas just so things move on.
Although with our particular project it could be seen as a bit of a failure in some areas because we're struggling a little bit with the project, with the interaction between the group. Certainly on myself, looking at it, it's been an interesting journey through. I don't like to use that word. It's been an interesting journey through, understanding that perhaps my expectations aren't the same as everyone else's.
I would say I've learnt that I've learnt how to manage or kind of steer quite a diverse group of personalities with quite different culture because it being fire and rescue service as compared to county council, and I think that's been quite a key part of my journey with the programme. And I think one thing I've learnt about myself is the need to kind of set boundaries early on, or expectations of myself, and then stick to them.
I think it's changed the way I work now. I've got so many contacts in so many different departments that now I'm already thinking of things that I'll do in my daily job that come up that immediately I can think of. Well, I'll phone, like say, Deborah Balfour for that, or I'll contact someone like yourself, Nick, for that, or I'll contact Joe for that. Whereas before, I think in our service, didn't have a clue. Not always have a clue with who to contact. It wasn't written down who to be able to contact for the various things. So
yeah, it's given me more of an insight and a thinking to how others need to either learn or get out of either a situation or a training exercise or whatever it be. So I'm more aware of other people's needs than just my own.
Yeah, I think it probably, well, it's starting to sort of, you think about the lessons you've learned, you start to maybe implement them as you meet new people, or maybe even kind of rethink how you approach current relationships. Like, I think it's definitely, like, you can kind of know something in your head. Like, I think it's really important to have a, not to try and have a blanket approach to people. Like, you need to tailor to the person that you're with, but then there are times where, like, if it kind of goes against the grain to do that almost, but if you want to get the best outcome, you have to be able to do that, and just learning different ways of doing that. So.
And one of the things I am going to do, so I've done it a little bit over this course, but I'm going to ask people for their time. If there's something I want to know, ask sort of like an expert. And people have been incredibly generous with their time, and I would ask people again.
I'd be more aware of my audience, and so if I was trying to get a specific task achieved or move for a specific goal, I would tailor my language appropriately. So if I was talking to a manager, I'd probably be more professional, whereas if I'm dealing with colleagues or friends outside of work, it'd be more colloquial.
Give me a greater insight of how to deal with situations at work, also other departments that we can work with or call upon to help us in everyday running of watch life or incidents we may occur in the future.
Being open to other people's ideas and listening, and actively listening. I'm not sure everyone always does that. It's all right just nodding your head, but you've actually got to take on board what people are saying to you and use that information. And sometimes, not being afraid to say what you think, as long as it's in the right manner and it's constructive. It's not, it's putting what I think across and being honest. And I think people appreciate that.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I've taken a great deal from the course and the way I work, because I think that I try and be quite consistent anyway, and I think I've been quite similar to that in the course. However, I would sit back a little bit more, try and listen more to other people, and not always think I've got the right answer and go with it. Actually trust other people, because other people can actually do a really good job as well.
Working with the fire colleagues again, got an insight into how they work, and now we're going to be obviously working closer together. What buttons to press with them and what not to press.
I think my approach to work's been changing anyway, from when I started to where I am now. Certainly within the station environment, the way I deal and talk to my colleagues, not just on my watch but across different levels as well. Station officers, especially through the project, I'm working with other senior managers as well. So yeah, my approach completely changed.
It'll give me the opportunity to think more about how I come across to people, how I interpret everyone else's, how other people come across to me, just a bit more thinking time in there when I'm looking at people, understanding that once again everyone's different, everyone brings something different to the party as such.
I would probably say you don't necessarily need to do this course for any sort of promotional reasons. I think if you want to try, even just as a manager and you're quite happy in the job that you're doing, to try and get the best out of people and to probably be the best that you could be, then it would be worthwhile you doing.
Anyone looking to improve themselves, anyone looking at self-improvement, that's always a good catch-all term, isn't it?
I'd recommend the course to anybody who's looking for that, that progression, the natural progression, but who wants to, add a few more tools to their kit as such. Have a little bit more idea about how we work in partnerships, how the county council works, the bigger picture, and understanding and learning, the different aspects of the role and the job that we don't always see at station level.
I'd say it's a good course for somebody who's coming into a job role where they haven't got any sort of previous background potentially in partnership work, in sort of community development. I think that's it's probably quite good for them to give an insight, a bit of an all-round view.
People who are self-motivated and who are willing to take control of their own sort of learning journey and their developmental journey. I think the people that like to have stuff given to them and be quite prescriptive, this is probably not the course for them. But for people who are willing to be open-minded and take that sort of control about where they want to go, I think I'd recommend it for them.
It's of course designed, I think, for everyone. Anyone who wants to sort of be an emerging leader within their department, and it gives them a bit of an insight of what's involved when they progress in the future.
Anybody that really is not, if they're not comfortable doing something or they want to further their skills, I'd recommend this course, especially around the areas of presentating and being part of a group and sharing ideas. I've learnt a lot from this and taking other people's ideas on board, and also learnt on things not what to do, if you know what I mean. So anybody that really wants to improve their skills in certain areas, especially in and around presenting and talking in front of people, I'd say definitely go on this course.
Anyone in the council, not just the fire service, who wants to broaden their knowledge and gain some more experience, especially if they have aspirations of moving on or moving up within their organisation, because knowledge is power, isn't it, I suppose? And I've got so much extra knowledge, more communication and partnerships in this, so it's definitely going to help me.
I would recommend it to, I think, anyone that wants to progress in their career, that wants a bit of a challenge, but I think they need to be fully aware of the commitment that the course is required. I think everyone was aware that it was going to be quite a commitment, but I'm not so sure I was aware of how much, in terms of WhatsApp messages from anything from 6:30 in the morning till midnight. Some of those were really good stuff, and sometimes it's just praise from people, which is great, but sometimes it was, you need those sort of think in the future. I would say let's have a time where we say, right, that's a no-go area, let's keep it to, because otherwise it can interfere quite a bit with your personal life. And
like Sunday.
Like Sunday. Yeah.
Anyone who's aspiring to move up through from certainly from the fire service point of view, from a firefighter, crew manager upwards, so supervisory sort of style of management, anyone going to go into supervisory management?
I think because this was the pilot of the course, there's probably going to be some changes and things. It's turned out it is very heavily geared towards fire and rescue service, which doesn't mean to say that I haven't taken a lot out of it, because I have, and I think especially working communities directorate, we're meant to be working close to fire and rescue service, so I think it's been a really important experience for me from that point of view. But actually, in terms of the speakers who've come in and things like that, it has been perhaps at times felt more geared towards fire and rescue, which may be something that they either want to fully commit to, or maybe they want to tweak it. I imagine they'll have a lot of changes that they want to make, but I think I'd recommend it to people who want to challenge themselves, but maybe in a different way from what they're expecting, because I think sometimes summaries of courses don't always do justice to what they're like when you're on them.